Jacksonville Jaguars, Detroit Lions. This is sitting 1 point in favor of the Jacksonville Jaguars, a total of 51. There is a rogue book out there that kind of seeing this a couple of different times this week where these 1 point lines where we do have the Lions as a 1 point favorite. Adam, when we take a look here, we did see a big time comeback win from the Jags last week. I don't know if that influenced this line incredibly much because we've seen a Detroit Lions team as well that has been kind of moving up and marching up and down the field. And I think this is one of those feel good teams people want to bet, people like to get behind. People, and let's be for real, offenses look much more like it did in weeks kind of 1 through 3 of late than it did more in the middle of the season. So that's why we're looking at a 51 total as well. It was one of the first games I scratched off for me this week. If someone wanted to make the compelling case to me that they want to play the over even at a 51, I'd listen to you. I do think that both offenses can score on these defenses. I do think that the quarterback play is at least sufficient enough to get some points on the board. I just at the 51, I'm not willing to pull the trigger here. So this was a scratch off for me.
I think the play is Lions in this spot. I don't have it in quite yet, but it's not hard to figure out when the Lions were bad. It's when they were hurt on offense, right? When they've been healthy on offense, they've been good. That doesn't mean the defense is good, but at least means that on that side of the ball, the last 4 weeks, they're 6th in offensive EPA per play. This team has been fairly explosive, and we're talking about a defense that in that same period over the last 4 weeks has gone from abysmal to meh. They're 15th in EPA allowed per play. So if you buy the Jacksonville Jaguars off last week, you're buying one of two things. You're buying the name brand of the Baltimore Ravens, or you're a Trevor Lawrence believer who has been waiting for that game. And to me, I'm not giving them that kind of credit off one game. I'm looking at a Detroit team that has actually played fairly well with a defense that has improved some. And I can't see a reason where I would get to Jacksonville on the road when I know that the Detroit Lions are playing better.
Stephen, there is props to be given to the Jags, who rallied to score 18 points in the fourth quarter and beat the Ravens 28-27 last week. But there's also a thing where we have to say, well, you were down double digits in the first place, so that's not great, right? I mean, it's kind of a double-edged thing. You're like, yes, that was a good comeback. You also allowed yourself to get into a 2-score deficit as well in the course of the game. I mean, look, do I think that the Lions can score on this Jags team? Absolutely, right? I mean, the Ravens offense, I think at this point, I think we would all admit a healthy Lions offense is probably better than a Ravens offense, at this point. And so I think it's a step up in competition against the Jags. I think the Lions do put some points on the board. I do think, though, that there is a lot of variance in this game, right? I mean, there's always going to be the Trevor Lawrence bonehead interception factor. There's always going to be the same thing on the other side with Jared Goff, all of that. So for me, that's why I didn't play it. What were you looking at here?
So I teased this up when the Jags were 1 point dogs. Again, a 6.5 point teaser, paid the -130. And if you are paying more than -130 on a 6.5 point teaser, then your book's ripping you off and you should go shop somewhere else. Just an PSA there for everybody. Admittedly, I did not feel good about the Jags covering last week in a game where they won outright. So I agree with you guys about that. I thought that they did not play well for 3 quarters, but credit where it's due in the fourth quarter. They were outgained 6.1 to 5.4 yards per play, and 5.4 is below league average if you look at the season. So great quarter, not a great game for the Jaguars. With that being said, in this game, I do think it's pretty unlikely that the Jags lose this game by double digits or by more than one possession. So that's why I teased it up. I do agree with you guys that I think it's closer to a coin flip in terms of who's actually just going to win the game outright. I think it's going to be a pretty close game. I do believe in Trevor Lawrence, and it's not just because of the fourth quarter against the Ravens. I think that we are seeing the light come on here. I think we are seeing growth under Doug Peterson. Since let me get my numbers right here. Over the last few weeks here, I think it's over the past 4 weeks, Trevor Lawrence is number 1 in the league in completion percentage over expected. And that was after we've seen stretches this season where he was bottom 5 in the league in that category. In the last 4 weeks, he is 6th in success rate. And if you look at what our concern was earlier this year, if you guys were listening early on, we were talking about the fact that Trevor Lawrence was doing very well against zone defense, but very poorly against man defense. Well, that's now leveled out a little bit. He was 31st in completion percentage against man defense through week 7. That's now up to 14th. He was 16th versus zone. That's now up to 12th. In terms of passer rating, through week 7, he was 27th against man defense. That's now up to 18th. And he's gone from 10th to 7th against zone defense and passer rating. So I think it's more than just the Ravens game. I think Trevor Lawrence is making a leap here and doing a good job. And I think that this is a situation where I want to continue to back the Jaguars to at least just be competitive in this game. And I think that's fair to say against the Lions team.
Yeah. I mean, I don't expect either one of these teams really to blow the other one out unless we get one of these bad quarterback performances that we've gotten from, both of these guys throughout the course of the season. So it'll be interesting. Look, it's a fun game. I mean, who'd have thought I'd be excited about a Jags-Lions game right in week 13, but I am. That one's going to make one of the TVs. Can't wait to get that one up.